Of course, today, Muammar Gaddafi's death is front and center. James Creedon is here with us. Good evening.
Good evening, Lana.
And you're looking at how the story developed online throughout today.
That's right. And I suppose a lot of confusion in the early hours as to the veracity of the photos, whether they'd been authenticated or not. And we can see here on Le Parisien's website here in France that AFP, the French news agency, did in the end authenticate that first photo
They were
of
the
Gaddafi.
first, indeed, AFP and Getty Images, to post that very first picture.
That's right. And the photographer's name was Philippe Desmaz, and he had taken a photo of images that were captured by a mobile telephone. But for a long time there was a question mark hanging over this picture. So we see here it was authenticated. You could see also on the social networking sites such as Twitter a lot of skepticism about that photo. People saying, what, an unauthenticated photo? Are we meant to believe this? I suppose a lot of people are remembering too what happened with Osama bin Laden and
Absolutely.
that false photo that came out initially after he was killed. So just looking at some of the reaction online, obviously an awful lot of celebration, a lot of jubilation. This tweet would reflect some of that joy in Benghazi and in Libya generally. Tears of joy, honestly can't explain how happy I'm feeling, etc., etc. And also a lot of joy amongst the expatriate community, Libyans living abroad. This particular tweet pointing to a mother who is in tears. She can't stop crying. She left Libya 38 years ago as a young bride with my father in resistance to Gaddafi. And a lot of people also mentioning martyrs. One martyr who was mentioned is Mohammed Nabous. Now, he set up the first private television station in Benghazi on the 17th of February. That created the 17th of February movement.
And that was the very outset of the
Absolutely.
uprising.
Unfortunately, 2 days later, he was killed by a Gaddafi sniper. And a lot of people are now saying online, and you can see this tweet here, I am not afraid to die, I'm afraid to lose the battle. Words attributed to Mohammed Nabous. And they're saying, well, Mohammed, you didn't lose the battle. Rest in peace. So an awful lot of very sentimental tweets online, people pointing towards all of the dozens, thousands of people who fought against Gaddafi, and now that fight, for many, seems to have been vindicated, I suppose. That's a photo there, it's not very clear, of Mohammed Nabous. Now, of course, we saw a lot of videos coming out as well today being uploaded onto collating websites such as Storyful or
footage,
YouTube.
All of them.
Absolutely.
Taken
And this
by
one,
cell phone.
This one was particularly gruesome. I won't play the pictures. I think we've been seeing them on France 24 in any case, pictures of him as he was captured. And it seemed that he was really lynched, and they were quite violent pictures indeed. Some people being a little bit, I suppose, seeing, I guess, the funny side of it in some respects. Was it common knowledge that Gaddafi was balding so badly? And I suppose a lot of people were commenting on the pictures. First of all, you could see that he was clean shaven, so he wasn't hanging out in a hole like Saddam Hussein had been for weeks on end. But also, I suppose, perhaps people weren't aware that he was actually balding.
Some speculation, Jane, that he'd been dyeing his goatee.
Right. So
among
if he
the
had been,
eccentricities of Muammar Gaddafi.
if he had
that we
been, let's
talked
just say he
about.
wasn't hanging out in a hole for days and weeks
So he
on
must have
end.
had some support there from
Right.
people inside CERT who were willing to accommodate him.
Absolutely. I mean, he was clean shaven. So just a quick look at some of the other tweets that were coming out today. Where were you on October 20th, 2011? Hashtag history, Libya, and February 17th.
Meaning that this day will...
is historic,
Go down.
and I suppose for many people in Libya, they'll never forget this date. Others are saying it'll be easy to remember because it's the 20th of the 10th, 2011, so it's sort of a date that's easy to remember. And I suppose it will go down in history as one of those days where people will remember where they were for those, who were marked by this event. Finally, just one tweet here: are you watching Bashar? Are you watching Saleh? And that is a tweet by Sultan Al Qasimi. He's one of the, I suppose, most prominent Middle East tweeters, and he is, I suppose, giving a little warning sign for the Syrian president and indeed for others in the region. And so a lot of people pointing to the fact that this is advancing at a very quick pace. And I saw one tweet as well, actually, that was saying, well, if one fled his country, Ben Ali, if another was tried, that's, I suppose, reference to Mubarak, and now Gaddafi has died, it seems to be, if in terms of this domino effect, what's going to happen to the next dictator? So I suppose some people are finding it quite humorous to see that progression.
That these revolutions are taking longer and longer as we go along. Ben Ali fled relatively quickly.
That's
that
right.
wasn't the case
And
with Muammar
it took a
Gaddafi,
long
who really
time.
fought to the bitter end.
Absolutely, it took a long time to capture Gaddafi, and I suppose for his death to come about. And so who knows how much longer it could take for others in the region. Just one last tweet that I saw here as well. Can we not bury Gaddafi in Libya? Can we just give the body to Niger or something? So again, a certain amount of black humour, dark humour online, but that is a very serious question. He will have to be buried.
That is going to be an issue, as it was an issue with Osama bin Laden.
Right, and I saw other comments online, people saying, well, will he be thrown into the sea, into the Mediterranean Sea, in the way that Osama bin Laden was deposed to sea? And it might be perhaps the only way that some people see of resolving a very prickly issue. Can he be buried on home soil?
Twitter really proved to be a crucial tool today for us journalists. It was the fastest way to keep up to date, really.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing the amount of different reactions and analysis you
Absolutely.
can get.
And I suppose the danger, I suppose, with how fast this information can now travel via social media is verification, because the public has access to it before news agencies and journalism organisations such as our own get a chance to verify and authenticate the information.
That's very important, isn't it, James?
Absolutely.
Is the whole verification
And
process.
we saw with the Osama bin Laden incident, and that photo being circulated very quickly online, that there are flaws in, I suppose, the speed at which information can now travel. One other interesting point to make about Twitter, the many spellings of Gaddafi's name, quite difficult to actually get an overall picture online of those comments and to track them as they're coming through, because you've got 4, 5, 6 different spellings of the name, and if you're trying to check the tweets in French, that's another one again. So difficult to keep track of it in some respects.
And with the conflicting accounts of what actually happened, this really complicated the task for
Absolutely.
many. One tweet today said, Gaddafi has been captured, Gaddafi has been killed, really emphasizing how complicated it was.
Absolutely, the difficulty in verifying the information and in following it.
Thanks very much for that. James Creedon, that was Media Watch on France 24. Do stay with us. We're still covering that developing story, the reported death of Muammar Gaddafi. After 42 years in power, the Libyan strongman was captured and killed in the city of Sirte. We're going to take a quick break in the newsroom. Stay with us. A new bulletin is coming up right on the other side of this.